Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by Calligrapher Grand. Am I the jerk for telling my kids that if they don't go to my wedding I will not be attending theirs? I'll start at the beginning. My ex-husband was a good father but a terrible husband. I divorced him when my oldest was 14 and youngest was 10. Well, he ended up spiraling and the kids were exposed to that. I was blamed for ruining Dad. He got better after a few years but ending up doing it again when he learned I was dating. So the kids kept trying to get me not to date since it will affect their dad. It was an awful time since to the kids I was still responsible for what he did and reacted to things. In the end I just kept my dating on the low end, which wasn't hard since it wasn't introducing the kids to the men anyways. All I had to change was not posting on social media. Also, yes, I sent the kids to therapy. They all stopped when they hit 18 or my middle child refused to talk, so I pulled him. The oldest is now 25 and youngest is 21 and I got proposed to. I sat them down and told them they were not happy and were pissed I was doing this to Dad. Lots of talk later and I thought it was good. The wedding is in 2 weeks. I got a text from all the kids saying they will not be at my wedding, that they need to support Dad during this time. I had enough and texted them that if they do not go to my wedding it will damage our relationship and I will not be attending their own weddings when they get married. They were pissed and it started an argument, and all of them think I am a huge jerk. I truly hate that I can't do anything that makes me happy since it will affect my ex. Sorry for errors on phone and not native speaker. Update. I realized I am okay letting them go. I can't do it anymore. I sent a text and it is up to them if they go or not. If they do go, I have hope to fix this relationship. If not, I'm just done. I can't keep playing this game. It's for everything. Anytime I have something good, his feelings have to come first. I can't do that anymore. It hurts too much. I could tell them everything he has done, but I don't feel like blowing up their image of him. Update 2. Someone private messaging me convinced me to lay it all out for them, so I did. Well, I got my response. They called me a liar, even with showing old screenshots that were in our divorce case. I think it is over. Thanks for everyone that tried to help. I had known that this was a no-win situation. I did it and sent every single thing including this post. Our next post is by a string of numbers. Am I the jerk for telling my brother he can't raise his child in my house? I, 27M, have had dreams of being a homeowner for as long as I can remember. I actually started saving for a house since I was 18. I bought a 3-bed 2-baths house 3 years ago, and while it's not the best house, I am beyond blessed to own my own house, and homeownership is everything I always hoped it would be. To be able to come home and have everything exactly where I left it, to be able to play video games all day, and have no one tell me otherwise, it feels like I am free and in control of my own life, which is all I've always ever wanted. About a year ago, my older brother, 36M, and his wife, 30F, asked to move in with me because while they can afford rent, they do not want to pay $2,000 a month for an apartment. While I did not want them here, I reluctantly agreed because I can't tell my own brother that he can't live with me when I have 2 empty rooms in my house, knowing he would let me live with him if I had ever asked, and I was also fortunate enough to have family to live with while I was saving to buy my house. I do not charge them any rent or ask for anything, but they give me around $400 a month to help out. My brother and his wife had been trying to conceive a child for a long time and are finally successful in doing so. They are expecting in a few months. While I am extremely happy for them, I also do not want them living with me. I did not buy my house for them. I bought it for me. I did not sign up for having my living room filled with baby toys and having my gaming room turned into a kid's bedroom. I did not sign up for my fridge being full of milk for a kid that isn't mine. This leads to today where I have asked them to move out before the birth of their child. They were both extremely offended and hurt that I told them this. My family also seems to think it is wrong of me to ask them to find their own place when they are expecting a child. Am I the jerk for asking my brother to move out? Our next post is by Throwaway. Am I the jerk for drinking on my designated driver nights? Me and my group of close friends goes out to drink reasonably often, and we all take turns being designated driver in a rotation of sorts. The issue for me is that I'm heavily visually impaired, to the point where I can't and never will be able to legally drive, even using bioptics or other assistive tech. Instead, on my nights, I pay for an Uber or taxi for all of us, which others have said is a completely acceptable option for them. The problem comes up with me drinking on my nights, even though I'm not actually driving, and can't reasonably be expected to. One of my friends expressed that it's not fair that I get to drink on my nights when everyone else holds back on their nights. In my view, it's not unfair at all. If anyone else wanted to drink on their own night, they're more than welcome to pay for an Uber the way that I do every time it's my night. They just usually choose not to. Am I the jerk? I'm no alcoholic, and am more than fine going through an event or outing without drinking or anything, but I also don't see the point in holding back when I reasonably could have one. Our next post is by Throwaway. Am I the jerk for telling my mom that I wish my sister was never born? My 14M sister, 9F, is autistic and she needs to be looked after most of the time. She's not super low functioning, but she's not high functioning either. She barely speaks and she has a bunch of sensory issues which makes her have a lot of meltdowns. Since she was born, I've had to look after her, and the older I get, the longer I am expected to look after her for. I don't have any proper friends because I never have time to hang out with them because I'm always looking after my sister. If I have plans, my parents' plans are always more important. Even if I already had plans, I am expected to look after her when my parents are busy. I was getting ready to go see my friend because we were gonna celebrate his birthday. My mom came in my room and told me I'd have to look after her so my parents can go to a restaurant together. We got into an argument because she'd known that I'd be going out like a month in advance. We were both yelling at each other, and I said that I wish my sister was never born. She grounded me for a month and told me I was disgusting for saying that. I know it's a really crappy thing to say and none of this is my sister's fault, but everything would have been so much better if she never existed. It'd be nice to have a cake for my birthday and not have to give her 80% of it. It'd be nice to have time to see my friends and not have to spend all of my free time looking after her. I hate her so much she's ruined my life. My dad agreed with my mom and told me I'm a really bad person. It's been making me feel really crappy. I don't know if I'm the jerk or not. Our next post is by Ginger Snap. Would I be the jerk for removing my 23-year-old son from life insurance and not including him in the will because he disowned me? I am a 43F currently serving in the Army for over 18 years. I have 3 children, 25F, 23M, 17M. Over the past few years, my 23M son has been genuinely upset that I will not transfer my GI Bill to him. Those unfamiliar with the military, service members are able to transfer their education benefits to their spouse or children after serving a certain amount of time. However, I accidentally exhausted my GI Bill. My daughter and oldest son never really showed interest in college, nor were my son's grades of the best. Once my son moved out after high school, our communication was minimal. Our relationship prior to him moving out was also strained. As a parent, I hope I am not the only one to say my son and I just did not get along and could never seem to connect as he got older and got worse the older he got. About 2 years ago of him going no contact, he messaged me, not to ask how we were doing or anything, but straight to the point that it's my fault that he no longer qualifies for grants due to our incomes combined and why I did not transfer my GI Bill to him. I informed him that I had exhausted it and that he is more than welcome to speak to a recruiter. He then said I should have set $50 to $100 aside each month to pay for his college. At this point, I call him entitled and told him I don't owe him anything once he moved out of my household. Our relationship prior to him moving out was also strained. As a parent, I hope I am not the only one to say my son and I just did not get along and could never seem to connect as he got older and got worse the older he got. About 2 years ago of him going no contact, he messaged me, not to ask how we were doing or anything, but straight to the point that it's my fault that he no longer qualifies for grants due to our incomes combined and why I did not transfer my GI Bill to him. I informed him that I had exhausted it and that he is more than welcome to speak to a recruiter. He then said I should have set $50 to $100 aside each month to pay for his college. At this point, I call him entitled and told him I don't owe him anything once he moved out of my household. As it's clear, they bother him, but this conversation ended with him stating he does not view me as his mother and blocked me on everything. He made it clear to his sister that he does not view me as his mother and I am nothing more than an egg donor. It is time for me to update my life insurance and do a will, and I am considering excluding him. Would I be the jerk? Thank Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.